All right, guys, last video that I'm going to do on knots for saddle hunting, and today it's going to be on the Prusik knot. You really ought to know how to tie this knot. This is absolutely critical. I've got a Prusik here on a 11 millimeter rope. This is a 6 millimeter cordelette. This is kind of small for this, but for purposes of demonstration, I'm showing you what it is. So in the last video, you guys learned how to do the double fisherman's knots to make a loop. I'm going to actually take this to the tabletop and I'm going to show you how to make the Prusik and wrap it around this. But the point of the Prusik really quickly is when, you know, say this is your tether, or if you, this is like a lineman belt going around a tree, but as long as there's tension, okay, tension pulling down, this thing cannot move. I mean, it is solid. But as soon as you kind of grasp it and take tension off of it, either push down from here or push up from here, okay, it's super easy to move, okay? But as soon as you kind of let go and lean back into it, I mean, it is not going anywhere. So, all right, so we're gonna go to the tabletop and we're gonna show you how to do a Prusik knot. All right, guys, so I just showed you what a Prusik is when it was on this 11 millimeter rope here, okay? So this is a shortened version of how I showed you how to tie this bigger guy here when I did the double fisherman's knots, okay? Or the double stopper knots, rather. So this is basically like one big, huge Prusik, but I'm gonna show you on the smaller guy here, okay? So this one's already done. You can tell it's kind of used a little bit, but this is the same knot right here, okay? So again, we double check it, make sure we got our double X's on one side and parallels on the other side. So to do this knot, I'm going to try and show you here, redo this camera, and this is a pretty tight knot. So we're going to basically start with the knot, the knotted end of our rope. And actually, I keep calling it a knot. The Prusik is actually a friction hitch. Okay, so this is the knot, but when it's all done, it's going to be a friction hitch. So we're going to go through. So we like this. So we're bringing it in through the middle. 1. Okay, make this nice and neat here. 2. We're going inside every time. Okay, so first we went to the outer, then we went to the inner. Now we're going to do one more. This will be kind of tight, and you can do, I usually do a minimum of 3. You can do 4. The more you do, the harder it bites, but it's also the harder it is to move. So there we go. Okay, so if you look at that, we're moving progressively inboard. That's the first loop, second loop, third loop. And then when we have this in a tree, this is where our carabiner would go, right here. Our carabiner would pull this way. So we can, again, unweight it and push it. You know, when we take tension off this way, it can move super easy. But as soon as you put pressure this way, it is not going anywhere. Okay, so that is your Prusik. Now, the rule of thumb with a Prusik is your Prusik hitch, your friction hitch, should be 70 to 80% of the size of your main line. So if you're going to use like a 10 millimeter rope, then your friction hitch should be no bigger than 8 millimeter cordelette or 8 millimeter rope. So 7 will work, 8 will work. The smaller it is, the diameter of the hitch, the harder it will bite on the bigger rope. Okay, this is 11 millimeter rope right now, and we're doing with like 6 millimeter hitch or cordelette rather, and just for demonstration purposes. But you do not want to use, for example, 11 millimeter rope and another section of 11 millimeter as a Prusik. It will not bite on this. The whole point of this is smaller than this, and this bites. Okay, and again, when you hook up your carabiner, for God's sakes, hook it through this end And the proper way to do it is, if you notice, I have my knot offset a little bit. The carabiner is going to be like this. So it's pulling straight down. It's pulling straight down on this knot. What you don't want is, you don't want it to end up like, let's say like this, and put a carabiner straight down onto here. That's not the right way to do it. This is the right way to do it. Okay? And make sure you are putting your carabiner on the side that comes underneath this big loop. Because if you put a carabiner through here, well, it's kind of hard to do with this one, but you can unravel this hitch. Do not put it on this one. You absolutely have to put it on the section that has the knot in it. Okay? So there you go. There is your Prusik. So be safe, learn these knots, and good luck next season.